day, and welcome to the first episode of Panthers POUNDcast, the podcast created for and by Panthers fans. My name's Alex Helms, and with me as always are my co-hosts, Los Pantera.
What's up?
And Jamaica's Plow.
Yay, yay.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an idea of ours for quite some time. We wanted to create an outlet where we could discuss the NFL and the Carolina Panthers from a fan's perspective, and hopefully give a little more insight into the comings and goings of the organization. This episode, we're going to focus on the end of the 2015-2016 season and where we stand as a team at this exact moment. To do this, we're going to go on a position-by-position, discussing who we still have under contract, who's a free agent, and where we stand with all of our players financially. Today, we're going to be discussing the offense, and on next week's show, we'll discuss the defense. Now, I don't know about you guys, but one of the biggest pet peeves I have going into the off season is everybody talking about the free agents that we have to go get. Because it always tends to be A, someone outside of our price range, or B, somebody that we don't really need. The one that I keep hearing this season is Alshon Jeffrey from the Chicago Bears.
No thanks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It just blows my mind when we have a team with Kelvin Benjamin, who is coming back. He had a 1,000-yard rookie season. We have Ted Ginn, who had, 10 touchdowns this year?
Mm-hmm. Best career of his life.
We have Corey Brown, Philly Brown, because Corey is a nice young man. Philly catches balls.
Yeah, Philly caught it quite
Thanks, Coach.
balls.
And of course, our rookie from last year, Devin Funchess, who I think is really going to come into his own in the second season of his career.
Absolutely.
So it's just a little disconcerting to hear everybody say that we have to go get Alshon Jeffrey, when really I think our biggest need in the offseason is at defensive end and right tackle.
Cornerback.
And cornerback's a really good option. We have people coming onto the market, possibly like Sean Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs, who is a solid player, but we still focus on these flashy playmakers, I would call them. The other big one is Eric Weddle. I don't have a problem with that so much, but I think that Trey Boston deserves a chance after sitting for the last 2 seasons.
Same here, for sure. And we still have the draft to address that need as well.
Absolutely. And Gettleman's proven that he's able to get that value in
Without
the
a free
second, third, fourth, fifth rounds. I mean, he's just hitting on pretty much all of his picks. And even if we don't see what he's doing, like when we picked up 2 back-to-back defensive tackles, everybody was jumping all over Gettleman, saying that we needed to address other issues. He should have drafted a wide receiver. He should have drafted a cornerback. When that second defensive tackle that he took was KK Short.
And they flat out said it was a terrible pick.
And Starr, let's not get it twisted. Starr is just as important to that defensive line as KK. Starr is eating up those blocks and allowing KK to get into the backfield. Absolutely.
They're a great duo for sure.
So we're going to continue to talk about this, and we're also going to go into the position-by-position review, and we'll be back right after this.
Fuck you very, very much. 'Cause we hate what you do, and we hate your whole crew, so please don't stay in touch. Fuck you very, very much.
Who else would you want to say fuck your team to?
Everyone. That's not the Panthers.
I mean, if you had to pick one person right now to say fuck your team to, who would
It's a
it be?
three-way tie between Von Miller, Gronkowski, and fucking Talib, that piece of shit.
I think Talib definitely deserves your fuck your team.
I'd
of
run
the
him
week.
over with a fucking bulldozer and not look back and be sad about it.
A PLOWDOZER or a bulldozer?
A PLOWDOZER.
So is that your fuck your team of the week?
No,
The
it's
Denver?
No. I'm mad at the whole league right now.
You have to pick one team. So you can say fuck your
How do you
fuck
get
your
the-
league.
No.
Fine. No, we won't do fuck your team. We'll do fuck your league.
That's fine. Fuck the league.
Fuck the league.
They've robbed me blind twice now. Cheated both by the fucking Patriots and the Broncos. Fuck you, Goodell, and whoever else. I'm done with you.
The Illuminati.
It is the Illuminati. Anyways, why are we not talking about
UFOs.
offensive tackles? This is stupid.
Fucking Canadian.
Fuck you very, very much.
Okay, now to figure out what's going on in the world of the NFL, we're going to listen to Los Pantera.
Thanks, Alex. With your news, John Elway is close to a deal with Von Miller. Why should I give a shit? Why do I care about Von Miller right now?
I don't.
I mean, what's the deal? What's so special about this deal, Alex?
Glasses.
Well, Von Miller is about to become the highest paid defensive player in the NFL. It's not going to be a close deal. It is going to be a monster deal because the highest paid player on a defense is always going to be your star pass rusher.
Right, but doesn't that take away from them being able to put anybody else on the team, get anybody else, or keep anybody else?
Well, the one upside is that once signed to a long-term contract, that could benefit them in the short term by allowing them to lock up players that might not be around forever, like a DeMarcus Ware. They could also take a look at signing Brock Osweiler long-term, which would be in both parties' best interests as they view him as the quarterback of the future.
Now, let me ask you, Jamaikas, do you think that Denver is going to be something to deal with next year? Like, is there a chance that we're going to meet Denver in the Super Bowl again next year?
It sure is a possibility. I mean, Brock played decent in his time, and they're still going to have a monster defense. Great coach, obviously. But they're still cheaters and horrible people, and I hate them.
Agreed. Let's move on. Next thing in news, former first-round pick and former Brown, Colt, and Raider, Trent Richardson, is meeting with the Ravens, hoping that his delinquent ways and attitudes will bring more shame on yet another team in the NFL.
What a bust that guy is, to me, anyways.
Oh,
He's the
absolutely.
Ryan Leaf of running backs.
It is insane to think that he was regarded as the top running back in that class, and since then he's been with 3 teams that none of which found a place for him. I have a hard time imagining that the Ravens are going to be any different.
I don't know the stats, but I'm pretty sure Cam Newton gets more touchdowns in a game than he does every season.
I'm pretty
True
sure
that, true
Cam
that,
Newton
Super
has
Cam.
scored more touchdowns in a game than Trent Richardson has in his career.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Super Cam #1. And last in news, Gronkowski from the Patriots acted the fool on a cruise ship. Tell me what's up, Micus. What did Gronk do this time?
He was on his cruise ship party boat, I guess is what it's called, to Gronk Island to party with a bunch of other losers like he is. And he was quoted as saying, 10 grand right now if you bang in front of everybody.
Who's he talking to?
All the people around getting shit hammered like he was.
It's like he wanted to start an orgy.
Well, maybe just 2 people getting rowdy, but regardless, it's pretty ridiculous, and I hate him
And here's the other thing is change up the scenario and put Cam Newton in his place.
Right.
There's been plenty of articles
You
on
can't
that
do that.
subject.
No way.
Some people go the race route.
They would chase him with the fucking Ford Bronco down the highway.
I agree, but you can argue, is it race, which I don't care about, kind of a tired argument. Then you can also argue, well, he's a quarterback versus a tight end. I think that's bullshit too, because I think a star is a star. You don't switch sports and you
A role
hold
model's
Steph
a
Curry
role
or
model.
LeBron James or Chris Paul, regardless of their position. A star is a star, and their behavior should be paid attention to.
Was anybody offended when Victor Cruz does the salsa in the end zone?
Nope.
Why not? They're making Spanish
I think
people
that
happy.
I think Micus is right, and
Joe
Micus
Well, Micus
is
for
right,
sure.
and I think that it is that the quarterbacks in this league are held to a different standard than, say, a running back or a wide receiver, or the cornerbacks are turning into some of the biggest showboats in this league, and we have one of them on our team, and I love it. But
no.
for real,
24.
I mean, does anybody have a problem when he does riding Delta other than the refs?
Right.
Nobody. We're going to take a short break, and we will be right back with our main topic. Welcome back to Panthers POUNDcast. We're going to get
rolls
into
off the tongue, POUNDcast.
Yeah, POUNDcast.
POUNDcast.
We're going to get into our main topic, just talking about the different free agents that we have, who's still left on the roster, what we have to pay them, and we have the most obvious position, quarterback. Cam Newton coming off an MVP season, obviously just had some heartbreak in the Super Bowl. Consecutive years of better postseasons. He's only going to collect a $13 million check this year, but he's going to count 19.5 against the cap. There's no other way to say it. Cam Newton is the most valuable player in the league.
Yeah, he's the best player on the team. He's probably the best player in the NFL, so you give him...
Well, he won the MVP award.
He's the most
whatever
fun
you
player to
want.
watch, too, by far. Just fun. Just so much fun to watch
So we
him be
clearly
awesome.
we're keeping him. That's probably going to be our biggest expense, correct?
Of course.
sure.
Your franchise quarterback is always going to be that number one expense. And at $19.5 million, yeah, you're paying for a superstar quarterback, but I think it's safe to say that we have one.
What is the cap? What's our limit?
From what I can remember, the cap number this year is going to be right around $153 million.
All right, we're going to have to look up that number, see if
Which,
that's correct.
which is about $12 million higher than it was last year. And the NFL actually just lost a lawsuit, which is going to raise it another $1.5 million this year. So we have a little more money to play around with, but that's still a huge hit, but it's one that we're definitely happy to pay. Right behind him is Derek Buckfucker Anderson. Came in 2 years ago, won 2 clutch games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Succaneers.
That's so bad.
He's going to make $1.9 million against the cap this year.
Keep him.
Absolutely. He said that he loves being a backup here. He loves playing with Cam Newton. And really, we couldn't ask for a better teacher. And behind him, we have free agent Joe Webb. I can't see a scenario where we don't keep Joe Webb. He has only cost $750K over the last 2 years.
Right.
Well, each of the last
But
2
by
years.
also doing a lot more work, too, than just being a backup third-string quarterback, being a special teams superstar, basically. One of the best.
on our team, for sure.
Especially the second half of the season was all Joe Webb.
Absolutely.
Game-saving plays by himself.
The special teams alone is enough reason to keep Joe Webb. But then you also have the fact that he's an emergency quarterback.
Insurance
He's an
policy.
emergency wide receiver.
Right.
And he's rough, too, man. He gets some good personal foul penalties that I enjoy.
He is a
He's
great...
like Teddy Williams without the flags.
You want to know what he is? He's the definition of an athlete.
Yes.
When you talk about
No, that
people
would
coming
be
out...
Cam Newton.
Cam is a freak.
Cam is not human.
So
Cam
in
is
a
a
normal
superhero.
athletic world, Joe Webb is the top of the food chain.
He is a do-it-all kind of Iron Man football
He's the-
player that I love.
He's better than some guys out there that are starting.
Well, then why didn't he go out as a free agent, go out and get a job as a starter? Lord
Because
knows
he
there's some
knows
teams
his
out
role
there that
here
can
and he
use a
likes it.
quarterback.
It's just same as Anderson. Anderson could go somewhere else probably.
Say the Browns called him up. Do you think
Right.
he wants to go play for the Browns?
To go to Cleveland and stay in Charlotte? Hell no. Who would
No.
want to do that?
Plus,
People in
you're going to go to
don't wanna be in
Cleveland when you can stay in Charlotte and possibly go to the Super Bowl next year.
That's a good point.
I mean, why would you do that? The next position that we're going to talk about is running back. Obviously, we have Jonathan Stewart.
Jay Stu.
He is the 4th highest paid player on the team. $9.5 million against the cap. We could gain 2.2 by cutting him, but that's just not going to happen. The player behind him is Fozzie Whitaker and Cameron Artis-Payne, and they just can't. They can't hold a candle
Neither
to what
one
Jay
of them
Stu
is
can
as
do.
big as Jonathan Stewart's thigh.
Jonathan Stewart is too valuable, and even with Fozzie and Cap, we just don't have enough depth. We need him.
Absolutely, and there's no reason to. Really, $9.5 million is fine for a top 5 running back, which I believe Jonathan Stewart still is. Like we said, behind him we have Fozzie Whitaker. He's only going to make $725K this year. He's a good, cheap option. He's proven that he can come in and be serviceable. He's not a world beater, but he is a good backup. And then, of course, we have the second-year player, Cameron Artis-Payne, who will make $566K this year.
Who had a decent rookie season.
Yeah.
He's got some spirit in him. He
Yeah.
has to get work better on his cuts, though. He gets drilled at the line of scrimmage.
And there's just not a lot of tape on him. The coaches seem to like him, but we just don't know that much about him yet. And, of course, we have the intriguing preseason favorite, Brandon Weger, who is going to make $525K this year.
Lots of tattoos.
Web star of the in the NFL path to the draft.
Yeah, and he's a high-quality guy. He runs hard. You just can't argue with it. And
I can't wait to see what he does.
Absolutely. He's a guy I got a lot of faith in, and I'm really interested to see, especially come preseason when he gets some snaps. And finally,
Tolbert,
the only free agent out of the group is Mike
Fatty.
Tolbert.
Toll Booth.
We cannot stress what a fullback means to this
You mad
team.
at Tolbert?
I'm mad at Tolbert
Why are you mad at Tolbert?
for 2 Super Bowl fumbles.
Oh, come on, Micus.
Sorry,
Jamicus.
It is what it is.
And that's one of the craziest things, because Mike Tolbert is one of those guys who doesn't fumble.
Right.
He just doesn't fumble, and then comes up with 2 in the biggest game of his career.
Shenanigans.
And, but you have to imagine that that's wearing on him, and he really wants to get back out there
Right,
with
exactly.
a contender.
You better have some
with
way
this
better
team.
dance moves.
Bremer had a terrible time at the Super Bowl, too.
Absolutely.
Rimmers.
Another Mike.
And
And then Jamicus had a terrible time at the Super Bowl.
I did have a terrible time at the Super Bowl. It was awful.
Mike Tolbert made $2.5 million a year for the last 4 years. I think that that's a reasonable amount. I'd be willing to definitely give him a pay raise. He took a hometown discount to come here the first time. I don't think we'd ask him to do that again,
Right.
especially with how valuable the fullback position is to us. Maybe not for the rest of the
Definitely
league,
not
but
the
it
rest
is
of
a
the league.
huge part
We
of what
need
we
it.
do.
It's
You also
part
know
of-
that
it's part of what we
Gettleman
do.
will do what needs to be done, regardless of fan favoritism on his part as well.
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, who was the
I gotta look it
awesome
up.
fan that gave us the name?
He won a Luke Kuechly autographed rookie card by thinking of the sweet name that Splinter is going to call
The
you out
Panthers
here in a minute.
POUNDcast
POUNDcast.
was brought to us by
David
my
something.
goddamn phone.
Wasn't it David?
Well,
Yeah,
that sounds
David
like he was
Good.
high.
I didn't know
David
that, David.
Good
I remembered
of
you.
the Super Panther fan group.
He's all good.
Yeah,
He is
He
all
won
good.
himself a
Autograph
autograph.
Goody powders.
Dave, you better take a picture with that card and send it to us so we can put it on our podcast next week and advertise and tell all your friends that you're a friend of the Panthers POUNDcast. You actually named this thing and should know when you receive this card, you will be held liable if we get sued by the Panthers.
Absolutely. You are the
Absolutely.
LLC.
That's part
This
of
is
it.
your fault.
Your card is going to come with a contract you have to sign.
Hope you're happy.
Yeah. So David Good, thank you for the name, and
Thank you for taking the lawsuit.
your card will be in the mail. So we're gonna get back into it. The next position that we're gonna talk about is center. This is again pretty locked up. We have Ryan Khalil. He's gonna make $10.3 million this
Sweet
year.
beard.
Sweet beard, best center in the league. He's a constant rock, and anybody that watched this year can tell you when he's out of the lineup, there is a noticeable decline in the play of the other players
It
on the
is
line.
terrible.
He really brought Trey Turner out and into the limelight and into a Pro Bowl, and it's so early in his career because he's next to Khalil. Khalil makes other players better around him.
I have to say that I believe that this season is partially due, and I would say actually largely due to the play of the offensive line.
Without a doubt.
People can say what they want about Mike Remmers. He did not play well in the Super Bowl, but he,
Nobody named Mike
as
that
David
day.
Gettleman said at the Combine, Mike Remmers has won 22 of 25 games in which he's started.
Right.
So you can't really argue with those numbers. But Ryan Khalil, he has made Trey Turner better. He has made Andrew Norwell better.
Absolutely.
And with those three, you have the solid building blocks of any great offensive line. So
Keep that shit up, Gettleman.
absolutely.
Who else do we have?
And we also have Tyler Larson on the team, but he's more of a practice squad guy.
Isn't that
He's
the
gonna-
guy from Twilight?
What?
Wasn't he in Twilight?
No one knows that except you, Mr. Pantera.
That's Senor Pantera to you.
Pardon me.
Los Pantera, Jamicus.
Tyler Larson is just going to cost $450K, so not even a blip on the radar. At guard, we have the guys that we were just talking about, Trey Turner and Andrew Norwell. Trey Turner just got selected to his first Pro Bowl. He's still in his rookie contract. I cannot believe... I almost gagged when I saw this number, and the same with Andrew Norwell. Trey Turner is going to make $753,000 this year.
That's fine with me.
And Andrew Norwell is going to make $600,000.
Also good.
I see big contracts in both of their futures.
Especially Trey. for sure.
Absolutely.
He's an absolute mauler.
And he's going to be on this line for a long time to come.
Good guy, too. We saw him at the
He's got
stadium.
sweet braces, too.
And
Everyone needs to talk about the braces. That's how he gets people.
Let's talk about Trey Turner's taste in clothes, too, man.
Oh, he is pretty pimp.
Dude, he's pimp. He's from... we met him at the stadium during one of the Panthers casts.
I don't even know what you call those clothes.
I don't
Other
either.
than it's super stylish and
Bray
fashionably
Wyatt
loud.
meets New Orleans pimp daddy.
And his glasses were all gold rimmed.
Yup.
He's a pimp wagon, no doubt about
He's
it.
going to be great.
He's a Pro Bowler in clothes.
We
That's
also
all that
have
matters.
David Yankee.
Let's go Yankees.
Not
$550,000 again.
the Yankees are shitting
nothing
on Cam
huge.
this week in the news. You forgot
Shitting
that.
on Cam.
Yes, they were.
They're
They were
proving on
totally
Cam points.
shitting on
Shitting
Cam.
on Cam.
Proving a point.
This guy over here is a stupid Northern transplant. Sorry, everyone.
Damn Yankees.
Damn it.
I still love the Panthers. I've loved the Panthers for years.
He didn't say, "Let's go Panthers," chant, did he?
Well, because
he
we
said
just mentioned
Yankees.
Davey Yankee
Doesn't matter.
on
It's time
the,
and place, and this is the Panthers
on the Panthers
podcast.
show. So I've got my Yankees on the Panthers. That's a good thing.
Who's
for
going to
me.
be more important in sports history? Cam Newton or Derek Jeter?
David Yankee?
Cam Newton.
Or
That's
Derek Jeter?
That's a really good question, and I think that it will come down to being a race issue. Being
What?
that we are
What
in.
the hell is
They're
Derek
both
Jeter?
black.
Jeter's not like Barack
He-
Obama black.
He's black.
No, he's more white than black.
Why are we talking about the fucking Yankees? Thanks a lot, Carlos.
Well, you said David Yankee.
You have ruined this podcast.
I quit.
All right, stop the tape.
The
and,
POUNDcast.
we'll cut that out.
No one's.
No, we're not cutting this
No,
out.
everyone
Everybody
wants to
needs to know.
We gotta have an enemy.
Yeah.
You're the heel on this show.
I'm the heel. Why am I the heel?
Because you're a big old heel.
Yankee.
Mexican.
Los Pantera.
Uh,
Daddy Yankee.
Back on topic.
Back on
Jesus.
topic. The only other guard that we have signed
More
right
guards.
now is Donald Hawkins.
Who?
Exactly. Amini Silatolu is really
Injured.
the only
Every
free
game.
agent that I think
I
that
think
we should
We
definitely
see the
re-sign.
end of the Silatolu years, or he's sticking around.
I think he's gone.
I think he needs to stick around. I think he was playing well when Andrew Norwell got hurt, but then of course he tore his ACL, and it's been a constant injury bug with Amini. He just never can get through it. Chris Scott and
He played decent.
Fernando Velasco are both free agents.
Velasco stepped in when you were talking about Khalil before being hurt, but then again, he's not,
Absolutely.
If Chris
performing
Scott
at the
stays
same
on
level as
cheap, he's
Khalil.
worth
He's
it, I
not.
think.
I think Velasco gets a shot again. But didn't we bring him back from the practice squad at one point this season?
Yeah, we've had him
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Yeah.
And the reality is that at the right price, I'd take all these guys back.
Right. They're not going to cost that much.
And
then-
everyone wants to be here too.
Right, and the only other free agent that I didn't really remember being on the team was Tyrone Green, and I couldn't tell you shit about this guy. I don't.
He's got two N's in his name.
Remember picking him up?
He's got that's the character from the Dave Chappelle show.
Right, Tyrone.
Yeah, right. He's just a free agent now. Less crack.
Right. We'll be right back to finish out the remaining players. Stay tuned.
This is Panthers Poundcast.
Welcome back. We're going to move right into the offensive tackles.
He's going to move into the tackles.
Oh, that's not very funny. You're very corrupt.
The big story in this is Michael Orr, who we picked up last offseason, and everybody hated the move. Everybody.
Oh, he was cheap regardless. I mean,
Yeah, he was cheap coming off of a terrible season in Tennessee where we basically swapped him with Byron Bell.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Everybody was better than Byron Bell. I was actually next in line.
my grandma too.
Yes, bro. I was behind her But I believe Michael Orr was going to be something from the get-go. I went and got a $5 copy of The Blind Side in the hopes that I was going to meet him this season and have him sign it for me. And then all of a sudden it's like, Michael Orr hates The Blind Side. So now you can't go up to him with a fucking copy of the DVD and have him sign it.
No.
He'll sit on me.
He played well enough to make the top half of the league this
He
year.
had a good season.
He played really well in pass protection. I'd like to see him get a little better in the run game.
And in the Super Bowl.
And in the Super Bowl.
And get some of them sticky things for the bottom of your cleats so they don't push you across the bullshit field in the Super Bowl.
If you've seen that video, it is crazy. DeMarcus Ware pushes Michael Orr like a training sled.
Yeah, exactly.
It was nothing. But we have to remember that all of this is coming at an extremely inexpensive $4.5 million. That is in the lowest half of offensive tackles.
But it's only for this year.
Only for
It was a 2-year
only for
deal, was it
this
not?
year. It was a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
He's making 4.5 both of the years.
Yeah.
So a total of $9 million over 2 years.
Are you sure? I could have swore it was $2 million a year for 4 total.
I'm pretty sure that it was 4.5 this year.
If we made a mistake, please send us your replies and corrections to PanthersPoundcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, David Good.
Absolutely. If you've forgotten,
It's all good.
It is all good.
if we've forgotten something, if we made a mistake, please let us know. Or if you just disagree with us, let us know. We love to hear from you.
And we love to argue.
And we will fight you.
We will kill you.
Totally. Fight Club, FYT. Fuck your team.
Fuck your team.
Fuck your team.
What about Remmers, man?
Mike Remmers, our free agent offensive tackle. He played for $585 last year. He could be re-signed. Was exposed in the Super Bowl, but like David Gettleman said, he's won 22 of 25 starts. Yeah. You can't really argue with those numbers.
I can't help but notice we're going through this list, and it looks like we're not getting rid of anybody right now.
Well, that's sort of true. We have really focused on keeping the players that we draft, keeping the core group of players. Yeah. I think that is how you build Super Bowl teams. You look at the Green Bay Packers. They don't go out too often and make big free agent splashes. No. They grow their own talent, and they groom the players that they do have.
So you think the last 2 tackles on the list here, Nate Chandler and Darrell Williams, are worth keeping?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're both locked up, so there's no sense in not keeping them. Nate Chandler is, of course, a converted defensive tackle. Right. He's only going to make $1.7 million this year.
He already has a season under his belt as a DT, and he hopefully only get better.
Yeah. Darrell Williams is somebody the coaches are incredibly high on. He'll be a second-year player this year, only making $664K. The coaches are extremely high on him. Could be a long-term answer at either right or left tackle. It seems like he's better suited for the right tackle position, though, because he's better in the run game than he is in pass protection. He's more of a road grading type of offensive tackle.
Right.
And that's pretty much it for the offensive tackles.
Hey, give them some props, man. They protected Cam as best as they can for which I said it after many games this season. It was the best season ever. 15-1. Like that's
hands down. We as Panther fans, I don't expect to see another season like that in my lifetime.
Right.
It is what we experienced was phenomenal. As a season ticket holder, you can't ask for anything better. I didn't witness a loss this year. Right. It was truly special and something I will never forget. Something I'll definitely tell my kids about.
But we are playoff contenders regardless. We know that. So even if we do only win 12 games out of the season, we can still dominate our division and get into the playoffs by hook or by crook. And start, at least for the next few years, man, with Newton and Kuechly. And we'll do the defense next week. But
it's great building blocks
right.
to build a perennial playoff contender. It's everything we need.
We can't have a good playoff team without good tight ends.
Absolutely not.
And the best tight end.
And we have one of
And
the
I
best
heard-
tight ends in the league.
I heard that tight end we have did not tell a cruise full of people to bang each other for $100,000 or $10,000, whatever he said it was.
No, but we all do remember the story of Third Leg Greg and the 7th Floor crew.
Well, you're going to need to tell that story because I'm not familiar with this story.
Well, back when John Beeson and Greg Olson and a bunch of their teammates were back at Miami, the University of Miami, they formed what was called the 7th Floor crew. And Greg Olson comes in with a verse and actually raps. You can look this up on YouTube. 7th Floor crew. He refers to himself as Third Leg Greg. And Big Beast apparently likes to skeet. So you can't. I know he's a family man now, and he's got his kids,
We're all
and he's
crazy
a
in college.
wonderful guy. We are all crazy in college. In the end, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. He is a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. He's in the prime of his career, early 30s. He's Cam Newton's favorite target. No price would be too high for this guy.
He's in rarefied air right now. He's in a great team. After being with a team that just didn't have the right scheme or the right plan for him, and he's just flourished so much into a legend.
I mean, how many tight ends can you name right now that you would take over Greg Olson?
Honestly, there's only one. But I still would not want to give up Olsen. I would give up Dixon for Gronkowski. But that's never going to happen.
Right.
Unless I'm playing some whack Madden All-Star Pro Bowl freaking game.
I think that the only people that can even come close are possibly Rob Gronkowski and Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy's fault. I'm not too sure about him.
No,
either.
Jimmy's not shown up except against us in Seattle.
Right.
But
And even that wasn't good enough to beat us that
right.
Sunday.
Right behind Greg Olson, we have Ed Dixon, who's going to make $2.5 million this year. We could save 1.2 by cutting him, but he consistently came through in the clutch last season.
We like keeping big dicks around.
Absolutely. The threaded needle pass that he had against the Falcons is one of my top plays of the year. I do not see a scenario where he is not on this team next year.
So far, the team's staying together and looking pretty good.
And the last tight end that we have is Scott Simonson, only going to make $600K this year. He looked good in preseason with limited snaps. He's a second-year player. You really can't argue with the guy. He hasn't done too much, but really, how are you going to beat out Ed Dixon and Greg Olson?
Big dicks.
Big dicks! We'll be right back to talk about the wide receivers and close out the show.
That's something else that's cool about my characters. I can just come and go as I please.
Hey, David Good, we really appreciate the name.
All good.
Panthers POUNDcast. It's good, good, very, very good, very, very good. Bye, Lily, bye, Lily, bye, Lily.
David Good.
David
That's
Good,
it,
David Good. Welcome back.
Alex's other name is Splinter, by the way, in case you guys didn't realize that.
You'll get to know about all of us.
There's not
as
some mystery.
You listen to this
man.
POUNDcast every week and subscribe and want to listen to it and start basing your whole life and your schedule around just hearing our
It's pretty much worth
voices
it. Aren't we handsome?
and our opinions.
Just let our voices replace the voice of God in your life.
Or the voices in your head.
Absolutely. Well, wide receiver, we are pretty much set again. Kelvin Benjamin coming back off this huge ACL tear that we thought was going to sink our season.
Yeah.
We are getting a 1,000-yard receiver back. This will be his third season. He's only going to make $2 million.
And he's
How
gigantic still.
He's 6'5". It is nuts how big this guy
And you know
is.
he's chomping at the bit after seeing us get all the way to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. How did that have to feel?
Do you
Sitting
know
on the
how-
sidelines.
Do you know how there's just this hunch that him coming back, like they had to wait for him to be like, all the pieces need to be there to do what we're going to do.
Yep.
We can win Super Bowl 51, which is Sam Mills' old number.
It is also
Keep
Jerry
pounding.
Richardson's old number.
Is it really?
Yeah.
See? Well, then if we're going to go with your theory that everything is rigged, then
It
that's,
is a beautiful
that's part of the
storyline,
script.
isn't
It's
it?
a beautiful storyline. Blindside 2.
Fate.
February 2017, Panthers, Super Bowl, written in the script, or books. I mean, Destiny.
Well, so Kelvin Benjamin's on the team of Destiny. Ted Ginn coming back, having basically
Is he under
career
contract
year.
for another 2 years? What we got him for?
I believe we have him for another 2 years. This year, he's going to make $2.7 million for the speedster. We all know the issues with his hands. It's been plaguing him throughout his career. There's not a lot that you can do about that, but it seems like he may have corrected it a little bit.
It was
earlier
the
in
extra gold
season.
tooth he got.
He was less sucky in the drop department, sure. So was Corey.
But I appreciate Ted
Until-
Ginn in admitting that he's nothing without Cam Newton.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's
he
very,
knows it.
he's
He has the best press conferences. He shows up with his 17 kids running around behind him, totally
17
pimped out,
kids.
and he handles the press conference. You got to see a Ted Ginn press conference.
Oh,
It's
Ted
pimp.
Ted is a
and
great
Trey
receiver. He really came into his own. He was able to fill the number 1 slot this year.
But please run towards the end zone next time. You have 30 yards of open field in front of you like the Super Bowl. My bad.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens when he has Kelvin to draw the coverage. Behind him, we have Devin Funchess, who will be in his second
We
year this year.
only have Devin Funchess over there.
The heir apparent to the number 2 spot. He played well his rookie season, despite probably being thrown out too early due to the Benji injury.
He handled it well, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yet again, he comes at a really reasonable $1.2 million. Behind him, of course, we have Philly Brown. Philly's number surprised me, $600,000 for Philly Brown, who I consider one of the better players for us this last year, despite the drops.
His route running improved greatly.
He gave his everything on that catch in the Super Bowl to keep us there and concussed himself in the process just for this
and
team.
he took that cheap shot from that piece of shit to leave, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
See, that's why
he could have broke his neck on
Easily.
that play.
And isn't it next year the rule is if you do get 2 personal penalties,
Yeah.
you're done. You're out of it.
Yep.
He should have been ejected.
Absolutely.
I'd like to piss on your face, Aqib Talib, and your name is fucking stupid. And so is your stupid face.
He's going to launch a jihad on Aqib Talib.
And Steve Smith hates you too, and I fucking hate you. We all hate you. You fuck, anyhow.
Ice up, son.
Bitch, anyways.
Seriously.
All right.
Brenton Burson, best player on the team.
Brenton
No,
Burson.
J.J. Jansen is the best player on the team. 5 years. Our long snapping game is nothing to fuck with.
Brent Burson has sweet hair, and he never fumbles, and he always catches everything.
And he give you a discount in the cafeteria at Wofford.
But let's talk about that for just a second, because we're not going to touch on special teams really, but we did just sign J.J. Jansen, who is our long snapper, to a new 5-year deal. And you can't really argue with how he's played, because if you don't hear the long snapper's name, he's doing a good job.
Triple J.
He actually is really great, though.
Oh, he's
Based on
fantastic.
statistical
We'll talk about
analysis.
him more next week. Let's wrap things
Every
up.
week.
We'll be right back. Los Pantera here with the question of the week.
Los Brocos.
We have asked the loyal Panthers Nation, what are you doing to deal with the Super Bowl loss that sucked ass?
Other than suicide.
Other than suicide, Kelly out of Greensboro says that she's been pretending that we won in private and laying low in public. A couple of her coworkers that are from New York have been really supportive of her, which is really nice.
That is nice, especially for New Yorkers who are usually
Assholes.
pricks.
Justin from Fayetteville wrote that he's putting all of his energy into watching his Hornets, Canes, and NASCAR.
I guess if he's a NASCAR fan, he's probably drinking a lot also.
Well, you have to drink a lot to be a NASCAR fan.
Oh, we're not trying to offend.
Gonna turn left.
4 times in a row. A lot of times in a row after that.
Lisa, all the way down in Kissimmee, Florida, she cried for 2 days straight, but now she's been going off on all the haters while watching for updates on all the off-season moves, just like all of us.
Well, that's good. I'm glad we're doing this POUNDcast. It will help us cope and keep us from said suicide.
Yes, let's keep pounding. And finally, Bonetta out of VA, representing
sweet-ass
the
name,
black and blue. Bonetta. She had this positive message to share. I'm going to read this.
Bonetta Outa.
I was really numb at first, then I realized we had an awesome season. We led the NFL as the best team. Our guys played like superstars. But just wait. We will be more powerful and we will dominate again. Only difference this time, we will complete the mission and end up as Super Bowl champs 2017.
Ow!
What a nice script.
Let us know what you've been doing by emailing us at PanthersPoundcast@gmail.com. What do you guys have been up to since the Super Bowl loss?
Watching hockey.
You came back from San Francisco. You had to witness all that garbage up front.
I left early. I left the Super
You
Bowl
never
early.
leave a Panthers game early.
I didn't. It wasn't a Panthers game. It was the NFL and the refs game, and it was shenanigans. I
Total
have very
shenanigans.
sour taste in my mouth. I left. I don't care. Row 1, 229, gone. Just so you know. That's how disgusted I am.
What did we forget? We forgot to talk about Kevin Norwood.
We forgot to talk about Kevin Norwood.
Cost
but
us a 7th round pick. Thanks.
Yeah, he cost us a 7th round pick by keeping him on the roster, but he's only going to make $600K this year. We're going to be fine. The coaches seem to like him. There's not a whole lot that we can say.
We
But-
don't know what he can do yet.
He came
Yeah.
from Seattle.
Yeah.
He came from Seattle, but he wasn't really producing there, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see on this one.
So we went through the entire list, and there's not absolutely anybody they're getting rid of at this point. They're just going to add some people on.
It seems that way,
It seems like
especially
we-
the core guys.
We should have at least picked somebody to leave this team.
Well, we already
Like
voided
one player.
Cautry's contract. And
Oh, yeah, that's
Harper's
right.
contract.
Cotry, yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's right.
Cautry's
And
gone, Harper's gone.
Yeah.
Of course,
Jared Allen retired.
Jared Allen retired, and
Right
we'll
off
talk
in
about
the
it next
sunset.
year. But one of our biggest defensive players is a free agent, and of course, Jay No. We are gonna franchise him if we can't get a long-term
It
deal.
looks like the
done.
deal's
There's no
coming
way.
along a little bit, though. It looks like there's hope that we
Absolutely.
get it
Yeah, they're meeting.
Gettleman said that he's optimistic about how the talks have gone, and at the combine, that's one of the biggest times for GMs to meet with agents.
Well, hopefully we'll have more information on that next week on next week's Panthers Poundcast. I am Los Pantera.
done. Jamaica's Plow signing off.
Alex Helms, thanks for listening.
And stay awesome.
And
Cool.
Keep pounding!
This is Panthers Poundcast.
On SoundCloud.